Hey, what's up, Pop Talkers? Want to get on here and been doing some studying on resilience and in my own life, and just want to come on here and talk about owning the loss and what it means to own the loss. And owning the loss means to accept responsibility, for defeat, accepting responsibility for defeat or failure without deflecting blame onto others or any other external circumstances. And so it involves seven key components, and I kind of just want to quickly go through these seven components that contribute to personal growth and resilience. All right, here's a detailed look at what it means to own the loss and what it entails. And so the first component is acknowledgement. The first step is just a straightforward acknowledgement of the loss, owning the loss, or acknowledging the failure. This means recognizing that something did not go as planned, and that you played a role in that outcome. And that's hard to do for a lot of us men and a lot of us fathers. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about being honest with the others involved, and just simply just a straightforward, like, listen, this was supposed to happen, that didn't happen, this is what actually happened. And man, it wasn't the desired outcome that we wanted. And in the military, I spent some time in the military, nearly 15 years, and after any event, after any action, after any exercise in the field, any mission that we had, we would do an after action review. They called it an AAR, an after action review. And this is a time where we would just go through and just analyze the mission, analyze our actions, and tell ourselves, okay, this is what was supposed to happen. This is what actually happened. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? How can we improve in the future? And the first step, though, with anything is just that straightforward acknowledgement of the loss, of the failure, if anything didn't go right. And so, man, component number one, crucial, acknowledgement. All right. And so, component number two, responsibility. Responsibility is big. After acknowledging the loss, it's important that we owning it means taking responsibility for the part in the events that led to the outcome. And I love this. Is ownership means taking responsibility for the part in the events that led to the outcome. And so what am I saying here? I'm saying that, man, there are some events that played a role in creating the outcome that you didn't want. And so, man, there's this episode of the Cosby Show, and I love it because this is a great illustration of what we're trying to communicate as far as responsibility is concerned, and who has responsibility when failure happens. And there's this episode in the Cosby Show where Rudy and her friend Peter are they're making a smoothie of some sort, a shake of some sort. Hey, what's up, Mona, man? Thanks for hopping on. They're making a smoothie, and they're not supposed to touch it, but it's not Rudy's blender. It's Dr. Huxtable's. It's Dr. Huxtable's blender, and they're not supposed to touch it. He already gave strict instructions not to touch it, and so here they are messing with the blender. They're putting food all in there, right? And so they hit the button, it starts to blend. And then what happens is food just starts shooting all over the place. And so Peter, true to form, bolts out, right? He leaves the house. He just takes out running. One of the funniest scenes ever. Rudy just leaves and goes up to her room and goes to hide. And so the mom comes home and turns it off and sees the mess and everything like that. And so she calls out Rudy and Peter. Well, Peter was gone, but Rudy as well as Dr. Huxtable. And Rudy gets talking to and reprimanded and everything like that. But right when you think the scene is over, Claire Huxtable, the wife, says, well, there's another culprit in this incident, right? There's someone else to blame. There's someone else who had responsibility. And so Dr. Huxtable's looking around like, who you talking about? He's talking about you, right? And so he played a role because he left the blender in a place where Rudy and Rudy and Peter can get hold to it and make a mess. And so when we talk about acknowledging the loss and owning it, it means taking responsibility for the part in the events that led up to the outcome. And so this doesn't imply taking undue blame, right? But rather accepting the decisions, accepting the actions, accepting the inactions that contributed to the result. And so we got acknowledgement, that's component number one. Component number two is responsibility. Component number three, and I love this one, man, because this is something that I can improve in, is reflection. Reflection. When we're talking about owning a loss, it requires thoughtful reflection on what happened. Let's just slow down a little bit and just reflect on what happened. This involves analyzing the situation to understand how your actions influence the outcome. Asking yourself these questions: what could have been done differently? Maybe there was something that could have been done differently, right? How might similar situations be better handled in the future? Let's just slow down and just ask ourselves. Maybe there was a different approach that we could have took. Maybe there was something that could have been said different, right? Maybe there was an action. Maybe we failed to do something. Maybe we skipped a step in there. What could have been done differently, right? Because there's always another way. There's always another plan to execute, right? I heard Andy Stanley say this. He said, "Be married to vision, but date methodology." Right? And so don't be married to methodology. The method in which we execute the vision could be changed. It could be changed. But be married to the vision, right? And so, man, maybe something could have been done differently. How might similar situations be better handled in the future? Maybe you put someone else in there that's more skilled, that's more, they have the soft skills to handle that parent, if you're a coach or something of that nature. Or maybe you could have typed it up different. You could have worded it different. How might situations be better handled in the future? And so, man, that involves the reflection. And so that's component number three. Component number four, no excuses. No excuses at all. And so truly owning a loss is important to know that, man, you can't make excuses. In the Army, we had this phrase called the maximum range. The maximum range of excuse is 0 meters, right? Excuses take you nowhere is what they're saying. The maximum effective range of an excuse is nowhere. It's not effective. And so this means not attributing the failure to external factors like luck or bias or the actions of others, right? Unless these genuinely play a significant role, right? And I see it so often in sports where teammates and players blame the ref. Man, the ref was calling all these fouls, right? It's like the ref shouldn't even played a role in it. The ref shouldn't even got that close where the refs had to determine the game, right? Or you blame your team. Man, I got some trash teammates. Sometimes I play 2K and I'm on there and it's funny because they quick to say, "Hey man, y'all trash." Right? Or maybe you do this at work, or maybe you've seen people do this at work. You've heard people do this at work where they blame their team or they blame their spouse or their significant other. They're the one at blame. But here's the thing: when we're talking about owning the loss, we're talking about making no excuses. Right? The focus should remain on the aspects that you can control. Right? Because you can only control you. All right? So no excuses. We're taking full ownership. We're focusing on what we can control. Component number 5 in these 7 components of owning a loss is learning and growth, right? Part of owning the loss is using it as an opportunity for learning and using it for opportunity for personal growth. What we got to understand is that failure is not final. Failure is not final. Failure is a launch pad for us to grow and for us to evolve and to maturate. And so by understanding that what went wrong and how we contributed to it, you can develop strategies to avoid similar mistakes in the future. And I found this to be true in my marriage. I found this to be true in my fathering and my parenting. I found this to be true in my work. And so, man, like, we need to look back on the loss. We need to look back on the failure, on the shortcoming as an opportunity for growth. Number six, communication. Communication, effectively owning a loss often involves communicating your acknowledgement and responsibility of those affected. And this is hard because it's like, man, I got to actually come out and say that I dropped the ball. I got to come out and actually say that I'm the one to blame. And I love this. My mentor told me this. And if y'all don't hear anything else that I say during this live, listen to this. Lean in for this. He said, Chauncey, listen, you cannot take full credit for something that you're not willing to take full blame for. You can't take full credit for something that you're not willing to take full blame for. And part of taking full blame means that, listen, I need to effectively communicate, step up, raise my hand, and point to me and say, listen, I'm the one to blame. You can put the blame on me. My shoulders are broad enough to take it, right? I'm the point man. I'm the leader. Or maybe you're not the point man. Maybe you're not the leader. Maybe you're a team member, but leadership is everyone's responsibility for one. And then we need to effectively communicate that we're the one to blame. Because here's the thing with this communication. This can help repair trust, right? Because the ball was dropped, failure happened, and trust needs to be rebuilt. I've seen this in my marriage, man. And so times where I've lost my wife's trust and the relationship needed to be rebuilt, and maturity needed to happen, and it looked like me just simply coming out and communicating, hey, babe, I missed the mark right here, you know. Or when I'm speaking to my children, hey, daddy made a mistake, or daddy got it wrong, or maybe I'm a few minutes late picking up my daughter, or there's been times where I forgot I had to go pick her up. It was my turn to go pick her up, right? And so, man, I believe that communication can help repair trust. It can build relationships and demonstrate leadership and maturity. I love that. You can't never talk enough about communication. And so communication, that's number 6. And so let's go do a brief recap before we get into number 7. So component number 1, acknowledgement. Component number 2 is responsibility. Component number 3 of owning the loss is reflection. We got to reflect. Component number 4 of owning the loss is no excuses. Make no excuses. Number 5, learning and growing. Number 6, communication. And drum roll, please. Drum roll. Component number 7 of owning the loss is moving forward. Moving forward. Moving forward. Mona says, so true, so true. All right. And so moving forward, finally, owning the loss means using the insights gained to improve and move forward. What did you learn from this loss? Did you learn anything? Right? Did we gather anything? Did anything stand out to you? I'm learning golf, how to play golf, and I went to the driving range today, and I was learning from my mistake because they had this kind of like tracer tractor, whatever it was called, and it tracked my golf ball's projections. It tracked my swing. It tracked the height of the ball, how far it went, whether it curved or ball speed. It tracked everything, right? And it allowed me to gain insights when I was making failures. And I made a lot of failures today. There was one time where the ball ricocheted. Ping, 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 ping. It ricocheted in my whole little booth. And I was so embarrassed. I'm glad there wasn't that many people there. I don't know if the folks behind me saw it. But, man, that ball ricocheted. But what this little device did, this computer did, was it tracked all my balls. And so I believe in the balls that went astray. And so I believe that we need something like that in our daily life, a system like that where, you know, whether we journal and we gain the insight so that we can improve and move forward. It's not about dwelling on the past, but using the past experiences as a foundation for better decision making. And that's what this comes down to decision making and actions in the future. Are we taking better actions in the future? Are we making better decisions in the future? And so there we have it: acknowledgement, responsibility, reflection, no excuses, learning to grow, communication, and moving forward. I believe that by fully owning the loss, individuals not only show character, but they show integrity, And they also set the stage for making constructive changes that can prevent future setbacks. This process is fundamental in both the personal development and leadership roles where, accountability is crucial. And so I just wanted to hop on here real quick and just share what the Lord has just been laying on my heart as far as owning the loss and taking full responsibility for things that we put our hands to, be it fatherhood, be it parenting, be it in the workplace. I hope you found some value in something that was said. Share this. Man, thanks for those that did share it. And man, y'all go and be great. Again, my name is Chauncey with the Pop Talk Podcast. Peace.